Who has ever heard of the saying, and maybe you kids haven't, but I'm sure your moms and dads have, because I know I've said this before, but who's ever heard of the saying, walk a day in my shoes? Anybody ever heard somebody say that? Why don't you walk a day in my shoes? Adults, have you heard people say that? Okay. Have you, huh?
I know what it means, not said that exactly.
Yeah, does it literally mean to walk in somebody else's shoes? Have you ever tried to walk in somebody else's shoes? This is really loud. Huh? Okay, we're gonna try that. Luke, can I have you take your shoes off for a little bit? And Braden, can you take your shoes off for a minute? Can you guys come, why don't you guys stand up here? Just stand up over here. Luke, stand up over here. Braden, stand up next to him. Okay, Luke, take your other shoe off for me. Luke, what size shoe do you wear? A 1. Braden, what size shoe do you wear?
15.
Okay, let's trade. Luke, I want you to put Braden's shoes on and see if you can walk in them. Well, you're not going to get your foot in there. Go ahead, Luke, slide your foot in there. Put your other foot in there. Okay, now try to walk. Okay. Is it hard to do or is it easy to do? It's hard, isn't it? Because they don't fit. They're not this. You can take them off before you fall. They're not the same as yours, are they? Braden, how about you? You think you can walk in Luke's shoes? Can you get your big toe in it? Yeah, probably not, could he? Do you think Braden could walk in your shoes, Luke? No, he couldn't, could he? Because they're not the same, are they? Okay, you guys can put your shoes back on. Thank you. Okay, so when you hear that saying, it literally doesn't mean to walk, to really physically take somebody else's shoes and walk in them. What does it mean? Anybody know? What? To do what they do. Okay, Hallie? Yes, to understand how that person feels or what they've been going through or how they've been treated. Okay, walk a day in my shoes, see how I feel about things that have happened. Okay, so think of somebody that you know. It could be at your school or it could be just somebody that you know in general. Somebody that you know that maybe gets picked on at school, somebody that you might think is lonely at school or somebody that's lonely in general. Somebody that is sick or maybe has a bad attitude. Think about that person for a minute and try to picture yourself walking in their shoes. Picture how you would feel if you knew the situation that they were in and what they were going through. And think of those people this week. If you see those kind of people, I want you to try to smile at them. Most of all, pray for that person and just see how God leads you. Okay, to try to help that person. See how he leads you and trying to put on somebody else's shoes. Okay, now I'm going to talk about, there's a verse in Mark chapter 12, verse 31 that says, love your neighbor as yourself. Have you heard that verse before? Okay, well, who here doesn't like themselves? Does anybody not like themselves? No, I'm sure we pretty much like yourself, okay? So love your neighbor, that sounds easy. Your neighbor is just somebody close to you, right? So should we just love the people that we go to church with? No, how about we should only love our friends and the people that we hang out with? Is that what he's telling us? No. Is he telling us to only love people that think the same way that we do or agree with us? He's not, isn't it? So when we really think about what Jesus is telling us, it's not as easy as it sounds, is it? It's hard to love people who aren't like us. It's harder to love people who don't think just like us. It's really hard to love people who don't exactly agree with us or we have differences, okay? But Jesus is calling us to love all those people and with all different kinds of shoes, okay? All different walks. One way we can try to do this is to better understand them, and that's where that saying comes in, to try to put ourselves in their shoes, okay? Maybe they're experiencing something. Maybe they're hurting inside. Maybe their home life is broken. Maybe they're struggling financially. Maybe they're struggling emotionally. There's lots of things that people go through. Galatians 6, verse 2 says, carry each other's burdens, and in this way you will fulfill the law of Christ. Okay, so we need to, if our neighbors are hurting or sick or in need of help, it's our job to try to help them in whatever we can. They're carrying a burden, and we're called to carry that burden with them. Okay, I'll use an example. I won't name names, but there's a little boy on Cameron's basketball team, and you wouldn't think that he would be a kid that would go out for basketball. He's not really a social kid. He's not super active in school. I know his home life. And Cameron came home one day from practice, and I said, hey, how's so-and-so doing in practice? And Cameron goes, he's kind of mean, Mom. He always tells us to shut up. He's so mean. And I said, Cameron, you have no idea what that little boy is going through at home. I said, you be nice to him, and you include him, and you root for him, because he needs that, okay? So we need to put on that person's shoes, because we just have no idea. So the Apostle Paul talks about our lives as a race. We all run this race, but are we all wearing the same shoes? Are Luke and Cameron the same size? Did it work for them? No, it was hard, wasn't it? Okay, so think of those just different situations, because when we serve others with kindness and with love, in doing so, we serve Christ, and we also help build up the church, okay? So try to walk in somebody's shoes this week. That's your challenge. Sorry, Luke. He's still trying to put his shoes back on.